Welcome again to the 2026 State of the City Address for the City of Kitchener. And it's fitting tonight that we are gathered here at Glovebox, Kitchener in the heart of our Innovation District. This space represents something fundamental about our city, our ability to honor where we've been while shaping with intention what comes next. As we open our time together this evening, we begin with an acknowledgement of this place, its past, and its peoples. Today we gather on the traditional territory of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee peoples. We recognize our responsibility to serve as stewards for the land and honor the original caretakers who came before us. Our community is enriched by the enduring knowledge and deep-rooted traditions of the diverse First Nations, Métis, and Inuit in Kitchener today. As you know, June is National Indigenous History Month. And in reading about the origins of the month, I learned that June was selected in part because it contains the summer solstice on June the 21st. A day which holds deep significance for many Indigenous peoples. And so as we approach the longest day of the year again this year, we can be reminded that reconciliation is about bringing light to truth and carrying that light forward in all of our actions collectively. To deepen our acknowledgement this evening and invite reflection, it's my honor to welcome Clarence Kakagi, Executive Director and founder of Crowshield Lodge, to the stage. Clarence is a community leader and author from Chapleau Cree First Nation. And he's worked in social services supporting Indigenous communities in areas like homelessness and education. We're very privileged to have him with us here today, so please join me in welcoming Clarence.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Woo! Thumbs up, big round of applause, everyone. Thank you very much. My name is Clarence Kakagi, and I do oversee Crowshield Lodge. It's all about land-based healing and land-based education, and I want to thank Barry for this. Tobacco. In my teachings, tobacco comes first, always number one, before anything. And why? Because it said that when we came from the stars and the heavens and when our feet gently rested on this planet we call our mother, what we came down beside was a tobacco plant. And that plant was gifted to us so that we'll always have the ability to stay connected to all those ones in our families that came before we did. So that we'll always have the ability to stay connected to the one who created everything. And so that we'll always have the ability to say thank you. So wache, ani, bonjour, sego, tanse. I am Kiwe Tinwe in the ne. That name translates into North Wind Man. I'm from the people of the Mushkegowuk, people of the river, Chapleau Cree First Nation Bear Clan, and I am a beautiful spirit. I'd like to give thanks for this day. I'd like to give thanks for this life. I'd like to give thanks for the air that we breathe, the food that we eat. I'd like to give thanks for all the relationships that we have. I'd like to give thanks to the partnerships that we make. I'd also like to give thanks for what we learned from our hardships. I'd also like to give thanks to time, and I'd like to give thanks to the fire and the water. And now I'd like to go a bit deeper and talk about how connected we are. And I'd like to acknowledge our connectedness to the sun and the moon and the stars and beyond. I'd like to acknowledge how connected we are to the two-leggeds, to the four-leggeds, to the winged ones, and the swimmers and the crawlers. I'd like to acknowledge how connected we are to those four winds and acknowledge how those winds bring balance to creation. And also acknowledge how that north wind is a healing wind. And then I'd like to give thanks to how connected we are to the standing ones, the trees, and say thank you to all that those trees bring and give us. in regards to medicine, clean air, fire, safety, warmth, homes, lodges, ceremony, paper. And the one thing I am very grateful for that comes from the trees is toilet paper. And I hope other people are too. And then I'd like to acknowledge all the plants in creation and say thank you, because they're with us again this year. Another cycle has started. And then thank you to all the medicines. And then we come to our oldest relatives, which are the rocks and the minerals and the mountains and the rivers and the streams and the oceans. And we'd always like to acknowledge those as equals within that circle of life. As we come together today, I always ask that we come together in a good way, in a kind way. I always ask that we remember our roles and responsibilities as men and women and two-spirited individuals. And then I always ask that we remember how connected we are to those ones in our families that came way, 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 way before we did. Our great, 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 great grandparents. And then we acknowledge the spirit helpers, those little voices that guide and direct us through our lives. Then we say thank you to our parents, our grandparents, our uncles, our aunts, our cousins, our children, our siblings, our community members, our pets. And then I'd just like to say a big thank you to the Creator and a really big thank you to our Mother, the Earth. So I was asked to reflect about Kitchener. When I started thinking about my earliest reflections of Kitchener, it takes me back to the late 70s. Downtown Kitchener, Georgie's, the Olympic, Lucky 7, Gentlemen's. A lot was going on back then. And everybody was a kickboxer back then. Yeah, everybody was a kickboxer back then in Kitchener. Ron Day, that school was turning out some amazing fighters. It's just, it's unfortunate that a lot of it was on the street and not in the ring. And as I'm sitting here and I'm standing here and I'm reflecting, I just went through my 60th winter. And 40 winters ago, on Oak Street, on that street right there beside us, about 5 houses down, I got a call from my sister. She said, "Bro, what are you doing?" And I said, "It's a Saturday night. I'm partying because I was living with some friends and paying room and board." She says, "I'm coming over." I said, "Cool. Who are you coming over with?" She says, "Our father." So from my introduction, I placed myself from Chapleau Cree First Nation. I'm from the Bear Clan. That's my home. I wasn't brought up on the reserve. I don't know the language. My sister and I were part of the 60 Scoop, and that's how we ended up here. And 40 years ago, when I met my dad, Kitchener gave me something that nothing else could give me. And that was a connection back to my family. That was a connection back to my culture. Now, saying that, once I made that connection, and I know where I'm from, when I go back home to my reserve, I have family, I have friends, I have cousins, nieces and nephews. The one thing I don't have is a relationship. I have a relationship here with all of you, with this community. And that's why I made a decision to instill my time here to make some changes. And why? Because I'm so grateful for all the people that helped me in this community when I needed it. So that's all I am today, as a helper. But it's an honor for me to do that. Now we have one of our medicines here, winggush, sweetgrass, represents a hair of our mother, the earth. Takes 3 sections to make one of these braids. And those 3 sections represent mind, body, and spirit. And in each one of those sections is 21 strands of grass. And the first 7 strands of grass represent those 7 generations and all of our families that came before we did. It's about 250 years ago. It represents their hardships, the barriers, the struggles, and the challenges, but it also represents the prayers that they said for all of us to be here 250 years later. The next 7 strands of grass represent foundational teachings that we follow. And those are the teachings of the 7 grandfathers. Those teachings are humility, honesty, truth, bravery, wisdom, love, and respect. And the last 7 strands of grass represent all of our responsibility to those ones in our families that aren't here yet. To make sure that when they come, they have everything that they need. To make sure that when they come, they have the stability. To make sure that when they come, they have the opportunity. But what binds this medicine together and what it really represents is kindness. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to your partner. Be kind to your children, your pets. Be kind to your community. But most of all, be kind to our Mother, the Earth. I want to thank you for this opportunity to come up here tonight and to share and to reflect. I know what Kitchener has given me. It'd be great if we can all go home tonight and sit with what Kitchener has given each and every one of you. Thank you very much. Aho.
Thank you, Clarence, for bringing those words today and again reminding us of the connection that we all have to one another and to creation around us. We have a number of elected officials and other dignitaries with us today, and we'd like to acknowledge their presence. I'd ask that you please hold your applause until all have been introduced. I'll start by recognizing members of Kitchener City Council. From Ward 1, we have Councillor Scott Davey. From Ward 2, Councillor Dave Schneider. From Ward 3, Councillor Jason Deneau. From Ward 4, Councillor Christine Michaud. From Ward 5, Councillor Io Owaduni. From Ward 6, Councillor Paul Singh. From Ward 7, Councillor Bill Ioannidis. From Ward 8, Councillor Margaret Johnston. From Ward 9, Councillor Debbie Chapman. And from Ward 10, Councillor Stephanie Stretch. I'm also glad to see many of our partners in the room today, including Waterloo Regional Chair Karen Redman, City of Cambridge Mayor Jan Liggett, City of Waterloo Mayor Dorothy McCabe, Township of Wilmot Mayor Natasha Salonen, along with many members of their councils. We also welcome trustees and leaders from our local school boards, leaders from emergency services, and representatives from Kitchener's agencies, boards, and commissions, including Innova Power, the Kitchener Public Library, Centre in the Square, along with many other community partners. Would you please join me in welcoming all of our elected officials and dignitaries tonight? I also want to recognize our long-standing partnership with the Waterloo Region Community Foundation. Through the Mayor and Council Fund, the city proudly supports the Foundation's work strengthening the social fabric of our community, helping local organizations respond to urgent needs, build long-term resilience, and create inclusive spaces where people can thrive. Year after year, this partnership shows how local leadership and collective generosity can turn care into meaningful impact across Kitchener. Once again, proceeds from tonight's event will be contributed to the Community Foundation. Before I invite the Mayor to the stage to give his address, I'd like to say a few words about this year's theme. Made in Kitchener is not a brand or a tagline. It's a mindset. It reflects how this community approaches challenges by stepping up, working across sectors, and turning ideas into action. Whether it's housing, infrastructure, economic development, community services, or cultural life, Kitchener has a long and proud history of building its own solutions shaped by the people who live and work here. As I mentioned at the outset, this spirit is evident even in this place, Glovebox itself. It's also evident in the decisions made by current and previous city councils over many years to invest thoughtfully, adapt creatively, and plan for the long term. Their foresight has made it possible for us to honor our history while building for our future. And this perspective is one that our mayor has helped to advance consistently over many years. Marking 4 decades of combined staff and elected public service, Mayor Barry Vrbanovic has maintained a clear commitment over those 4 decades to serving the community. And with that, it's my privilege to invite our mayor to the stage to share Kitchener's story and what it means to be made in Kitchener. Please join me in welcoming him tonight.
Thank you very much, Dan, for that kind introduction. And thank you, Clarence, for joining us this evening, sharing your wisdom and your teaching with us. I think you have left all of us with learnings both today and over the last number of years through your commitment to this community that are shaping our teachings of our role on Mother Earth and our collective role in reconciliation, both in our community and across Turtle Island. Good evening, everyone. It is a privilege to be here tonight and to see so many people who care deeply about the city of Kitchener gathered in one place. The state of the city is an opportunity to reflect honestly on what we are doing well, where we are being challenged, and the responsibilities we share moving forward. Cities don't stand still. They are shaped every day by the decisions we make together. And tonight is a chance to take stock of that shared work and focus on the future we are building in practice, not just in theory. As I begin, I want to do so by thanking Team Kitchener, my city council and staff colleagues who helped lead this city 24/7, 365. Serving a city like Kitchener, one that is growing rapidly and navigating real pressures, is not easy work. It involves difficult decisions, competing priorities, long hours, and sometimes uncomfortable conversations. It requires balancing the urgent needs of today with the long-term responsibilities we owe to future generations. It's been my pleasure this term to serve alongside an amazing council that brings diverse perspectives to the table, challenges one another respectfully, and stays focused on delivering results for residents. And to our city's corporate leadership team and staff, a heartfelt thank you to you as well. Thank you for the professionalism you bring to your work, the care you show our residents day in and day out, and the pride you take in public service. Together, we have made decisions that will shape this city for generations. These are decisions made here by this community, for this community. I am immensely proud of the work our council has done, proud of the way we've navigated unprecedented pressures, proud of our willingness to make thoughtful yet sometimes challenging decisions, and proud of our shared commitment to serving the people of Kitchener with integrity and care. To my council colleagues in particular, thank you. Working with you, with all of you, as part of this team has truly been both an honor and a privilege. I also want to acknowledge our partners, beginning with our Indigenous neighbors who have walked these lands since time immemorial. I then want to acknowledge our partners from other orders of government, both federal and provincial, as well as others, including community leaders, business owners, nonprofit organizations, educators, faith and cultural organizations, volunteers, and so many others across our city. Kitchener's success has never been the outcome of one institution or group of people acting alone. Progress happens when people and organizations come together and align around shared goals and mutual accountability. Thank you to all of you for walking this journey together with us. Tonight, I want to talk about Kitchener's story, where we've come from, where we are right now, and where we are going. I want to be clear about the challenges ahead, share my confidence in the direction we are taking, and stay grounded in the values that guide our decisions. As you heard, the theme of this year's State of the City is Made in Kitchener. These words were chosen deliberately. They speak to pride in who we are and where we come from. A city built by people who solve problems themselves rather than waiting for solutions to arrive from somewhere else. For generations, Kitchener has been a place where people built things with their hands, created opportunity through hard work, and invested in one another. But Made in Kitchener is not just about our past. It is about responsibility in the present. The challenges we face today will not be solved somewhere else and delivered here fully formed. They are being worked on right here. They're being shaped right here. And they will be addressed step by step by the people of this city working together right here.
Kitchener is a city built by people who care deeply about where they live. For generations, that care has shown up in how we work, how we build, and how we look out for one another. It's what has shaped our neighborhoods, our economy, and our shared sense of community.
You see it in the way people show up, taking pride in their neighborhoods, supporting local businesses, and helping shape the future of their community.
Kitchener is growing, and with that comes opportunity. We're seeing new housing take shape, improvements to local infrastructure, and thoughtful planning that supports complete, connected neighborhoods.
Our local economy is being shaped right here by entrepreneurs, innovators, and workers who believe in Kitchener and are choosing to build their future here.
From small improvements on our streets to big projects across the city, this is what progress looks like. Steady, practical, and focused on what matters most to residents.
Newcomers bring new ideas, new energy, and new perspectives. They're helping shape a city that's diverse, creative, and always evolving.
What makes Kitchener strong isn't just the investments we make, it's the partnerships with other orders of government, community, residents, and business.
It's neighbors looking out for each other. It's families building their lives here, creating strong, welcoming communities day by day.
And it's longtime residents who continue to shape what comes next, sharing knowledge, experience, and a deep commitment to this community.
Community happens when people feel they belong, when programs, public spaces, and local gathering places bring people together.
Our work starts by listening to residents, to partners, and to the voices that make up this city, by planning for today and tomorrow, and by serving the community we call home.
That's what Made in Kitchener means. It's about solutions created here, progress driven by people who live here, and a city that continues to move forward together. And that sense of together is something I want to pause on. I want to take a moment to thank my council colleagues for their commitment, professionalism, and care for this city over the past 4 years. Working together, we have made decisions that will shape Kitchener for generations to come. What we've built together matters, and what we build next matters even more.
The past year has reminded us just how much change cities like Kitchener are navigating. Together, we are managing global economic uncertainty that affects local employers, household confidence, and long-term investment decisions. We're living through sustained affordability pressures that touch nearly every area of our daily life, from housing and transportation to food, childcare, and basic essentials. And we're confronting infrastructure realities, particularly around regional water capacity, that demand coordination across governments and a disciplined, long-term approach. We are hearing this clearly from our community. Recent surveys show that while 70% of Kitchener residents are satisfied with city services, and more than 80% say they have good access to the activities and programs they need, affordability continues to shape how people feel about the future. Cost of living was identified as a top concern by 32% of residents, with housing affordability close behind at 29%, far outweighing other issues. We are not alone in this. Canadians from coast to coast to coast have overwhelmingly told all orders of government that affordability is their number one concern. In moments like this, leadership matters. Leadership does not mean pretending the challenges are simple or the solutions easy. Kitchener has chosen not to look away from difficult realities. When households are facing pressures across nearly every part of daily life, we have been deliberate in how we make financial decisions, ensuring that the services people rely on remain accessible while managing costs as responsibly as possible. Through the 2026 budget, we advanced a clear approach: affordable today, ready for tomorrow. That meant prioritizing fiscal restraint across the organization, maintaining core services that residents depend on, and making disciplined choices about where and how we invest. All while continuing to improve how we deliver services, making it easier for residents to access what they need, when they need it, and ensuring a consistent, high-quality customer experience across the organization. As a result, Kitchener continues to demonstrate strong and consistent financial stewardship. This year's property tax increase of 2.2% from the city was in line with inflation, helping to balance rising costs while minimizing the impact on households. Over the past 5 years, Kitchener Council, working with our staff, has maintained the lowest average tax increase of all municipalities in the region, a reflection of a disciplined, long-term approach that prioritizes both service, delivery, and affordability. This is not about short-term decisions. It's about building trust and stability over the long term. By taking a thoughtful, measured approach to budgeting, one that aligns with inflation, emphasizes efficiency, and plans for future needs, Kitchener is ensuring that we remain a city where people can afford to live, grow, and belong, both today and in the future. To all of our neighbors, colleagues, and friends across the city, please hear me when I say this. We know how challenging this moment is for everyone. We see you. And with every tool available to us, we are working for you. We want to remind you that there will be light at the end of the tunnel. Things will be better. And by working together, we will all be part of the solution. Of course, this mindset is not new to Kitchener. Our city has always evolved by adapting to change rather than fighting it. From its manufacturing roots to its emergence as a center for technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship, Kitchener has repeatedly demonstrated an ability to respect its past while deliberately shaping what comes next. That philosophy is evident in the space we're gathered in this evening. Glovebox exists because a private developer working with council and staff looked at an aging industrial building and chose practical reinvention rather than removal or the requirement of designation. Instead of erasing history, we collaborated to preserve it, ultimately achieving much more as a result, the space we are in this evening. Brick and beam were retained, character was respected, and innovation was invited in. That same balance between continuity and change, between caution and ambition, guides all aspects of our work across the city. It's about acknowledging constraints with allowing them to define us. It's about planning responsibly without losing sight of possibility. And it's about understanding that real progress is rarely instant. but it is always intentional. This is the moment we are in, and how we respond to it will shape Kitchener for decades to come. These are not distant challenges. The work to address them is happening within our neighborhoods, in our city, every day. That is the responsibility and the opportunity of all of us who love Kitchener. Tonight, I want to share with you how we're meeting and remaking this moment with 3 very important Made in Kitchener reasons to be excited about our future. Firstly, we know housing is the most urgent challenge of our time and likely one of the clearest tests of municipal leadership. Municipalities do not control interest rates. We don't set federal immigration targets, and we do not determine global construction costs or supply chain pressures. But we do control land policy, we do control municipal approval systems, and we do control whether our city is ready to deliver housing when conditions allow. In Kitchener, that means focusing on what we can control and using it fully. That's what Made in Kitchener looks like in housing, being prepared, being focused, and taking direct action where we can. Since Council made its housing pledge in March of 2023, site-specific applications for more than 17,000 homes have been approved. City staff have advanced over 6,000 units through site plan approval. Nearly 9,600 new homes have received building permits, and the city has completed 26 of 28 federal Housing Accelerator Fund milestones, despite the current market conditions. Kitchener is one of very few municipalities to have also met or exceeded its provincial housing target ranges under the Building Faster Fund for 2 consecutive years. And we hope to hear soon that, in fact, we were 3 for 3. Those numbers matter not because they're impressive, but because they represent people. They represent households making real decisions about their lives. A young couple asking whether they can stay in the city where they grew up. A senior looking to downsize without leaving the neighborhood they love. A newcomer deciding whether Kitchener can truly feel like home. These outcomes did not happen by chance. They reflect years of sustained policy work, investments in planning capacity, modernized approval processes, and a deliberate commitment to collaboration with builders, nonprofits, and community partners. Through our Housing for All strategy, Kitchener has used every tool available to a municipality. We unlocked city-owned land for housing, we waived fees for nonprofit and affordable housing developments, we modernized zoning frameworks to provide clarity, predictability, and flexibility. And we approved up to 4 residential units as of right citywide, enabling gentle density while respecting neighborhood character. Through Growing Together East, Kitchener unlocked the potential over many decades in the future for 100,000 new homes near major transit corridors. This was one of the most ambitious land use planning initiatives undertaken anywhere in Canada, and it's positioned our city for a long-term future that is both transit supportive and environmentally responsible. All this work comes down to 3 things: preparedness, efficiency, and affordability. Through our Missing Middle and Affordable Housing Community Improvement Plan, supported by federal Housing Accelerator funding, new rental housing is already moving forward in areas that are well served by transit, services, and employment. At the same time, we have been clear-eyed about infrastructure realities. Region of Waterloo water capacity constraints are real. They are complex, and they require coordination across all orders of government, unprecedented collaboration with the development community, and leadership, urgency, and responsibility from decision makers. Here, Team Kitchener has stepped up once again. While interim and long-term solutions advance at the regional level, city teams have continued reviewing, refining, and preparing development projects so they're ready to move forward as soon as capacity becomes available. This is how we're applying Made in Kitchener solutions to ensure that the housing we approve today supports a city that remains livable, inclusive, and resilient tomorrow. Housing is complex. There is no single solution. It requires effort from all of us at both the local and regional orders of government, and approvals alone are not enough, especially in a moment defined by affordability pressures. The question now is not just how many homes we approve, it is how we ensure most of these homes are within reach for the people who need them most. This has required a more focused, hands-on approach. In Kitchener, we've concentrated on the part of the system where municipalities can make the greatest difference, helping affordable housing projects move from concept to construction. That means going beyond approvals. It means working alongside nonprofit and community housing providers to reduce barriers, manage complexity, and create the conditions for projects to move forward with confidence. This is where our approach has evolved. Through improvements to how we deliver services, we have reduced site plan approval timelines from an average of 335 days to approximately 50 days, an 85% reduction. That progress has been driven by 18 end-to-end process reviews and the introduction of digital tools that allow multiple departments to review applications at the same time, resolving issues earlier and avoiding delays later. These changes are not abstract. They're helping real projects move faster, even in challenging conditions. That work is translating into results where it matters most. In this current term of council, the city has supported 11 affordable housing projects, representing more than 420 new homes, backed by approximately $59 million in municipal investment. These projects are making a difference across the city, including 100 new supportive housing units in the first phase of House of Friendship's Friendship Village, an 18-unit, 4-story building by KW Habilitation, Endwell's fully accessible 43 units at St. Mark's Place, and 41 supportive and affordable units at the St. Peter's Magnolia Apartments. What sets this work apart is how these projects are being delivered. We're not only approving projects, we're actively helping to bring them forward. Through fee waivers, development charge exemptions, land contributions, and targeted funding programs, we're reducing upfront costs and improving project viability. At the same time, our housing concierge model provides dedicated hands-on support, guiding projects through approvals, coordinating across departments, and helping resolve issues so they can move more quickly to construction. Taken together, these tools allow the city to absorb early-stage complexity and reduce risk so that partners can focus on delivering housing. Thanks, I needed a drink of water. This is not a standard approach. It is a locally developed model, one made right here at home to solve real challenges in the conditions we are facing. This approach also supports a broader network of local housing providers, organizations with the experience and capacity to deliver projects that are integrated with supports like mental health services, newcomer programs, and employment opportunities. That coordination helps ensure these projects do more than just add units, they help build complete communities and improve lives. This is how progress happens. But there's more to do. In fact, Kitchener's new official plan outlines a 20-year vision that will expand missing middle housing, building affordable townhouses, duplexes, and mid-rise buildings that will create a more inclusive and accessible city for all of us. This is Made in Kitchener in action. Not waiting for conditions to be perfect, but doing the work now so we are ready when they are. Earlier, I mentioned 3 very important reasons to be excited about our future. Housing is one of them. Here's the second one: our thriving local economy powered by people who care. Just as we're preparing our city for growth through housing, we're doing the same with our local economy. Because a city that builds homes must also build opportunity. Kitchener has always been a city of builders. Long before innovation ecosystems and startup strategies, this community was known as Busy Berlin, a manufacturing center where people built livelihoods through skill, effort, and pride in what they produced. It was a coincidence today that, in fact, the Canadian ambassador to Germany was visiting from Berlin, and a number of us had an opportunity to meet with her. Today, all of this shows up in advanced manufacturing, health innovation, clean tech, entrepreneurship, and the small businesses that choose Kitchener because of its talent, culture, and quality of life. It shows up in people who respond to challenges by choosing to create solutions. As we talk about building a strong and resilient local economy, we also need to be clear about who is helping to build it. Newcomers are essential to Kitchener's economic growth, today and into the future. Immigrants make up roughly 30% of our population, and statistics show they are more likely than the general population to start businesses and fill critical labor gaps. With the municipalities across this region projected to continue to evolve in the coming decades, supporting newcomer success is not just about welcoming, it's about building economic resilience. Our belief in people, regardless of where they started, is reflected in Make It Kitchener 2.1, our updated economic development strategy, which will be presented to Council in the coming days. Make It Kitchener 2.1 focuses on where the city can make the biggest difference in uncertain times, supporting local businesses, attracting new investment, and helping ideas grow into companies. It builds on what already sets Kitchener apart, a highly skilled workforce, a diverse mix of industries, and a culture of collaboration that brings people and organizations together to move ideas forward. The strategy also positions Kitchener to expand into emerging sectors where we already have momentum, from health innovation to artificial intelligence and advanced manufacturing, working alongside partners like Communitech, UW Velocity, and the Medical Innovation Exchange to support companies as they start, grow, and scale. At the same time, it recognizes that economic success is closely tied to the experience of being in this city. That is why there's a renewed focus on downtown as both an innovation hub and a destination for arts, culture, and entertainment. From the Innovation Arena and the Communitech Hub to creative spaces like 44 Gawkel, the SDG Idea Factory, and Square Peg, Kitchener is building an ecosystem where more than 500 startups, entrepreneurs, and creators can connect, collaborate, and grow. And alongside that, we continue to invest in the places and experiences that bring people together. From Centre in the Square, the Conrad Centre for the Performing Arts, and the museum, to the Kitchener-Waterloo Art Gallery, the Kitchener Market, and the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium, home to the 2026 Memorial Cup champions. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't also reference the many festivals and special events that animate our city year-round, including KW Oktoberfest, Caravana, the KW Multicultural Festival, Canada Day, and Kitchener Blues Fest, plus so much more. But it all goes beyond any single strategy or initiative. Make It Kitchener is a plan. Made in Kitchener is who we are. You can see that clearly in the Innovation Arena, a partnership between the city, the province, the federal government, and the University of Waterloo. Supported by an $8.5 million city investment, it brought together entrepreneurs, researchers, clinicians, and industry leaders focused on solving real-world challenges. It's home to Velocity, one of Canada's leading startup incubators. It also houses the Medical Innovation Exchange, advancing health innovation through shared labs and expertise, and provides space for the Waterloo Region Small Business Centre, helping entrepreneurs turn ideas into viable businesses. These are not ideas that have been borrowed from somewhere or someone else. These ideas are being developed, tested, and scaled right here in Kitchener. Together, our investments in Kitchener's makers and creators means more opportunities for people to connect in ways that grow our economy and build our community right across the city. This too is made in Kitchener, a local economy built not just on ideas, but on people choosing to invest, create, and grow here. People like some outstanding up-and-coming local artists, like Paul Federer Jazz Quartet, Nick Nolay Trio, Caleb Koo, and Izzy Aboagi, who you have heard from or will hear from throughout this evening. They perform across our city and are building careers, contributing to our creative economy and helping define Kitchener's cultural identity. Nick and Izzy, in fact, will also be featured in the new upcoming Kitchener Takes the Stage event, which will celebrate local talent and create opportunities for young artists to share their work with the community. This is how local economies grow, intentionally, collaboratively, and by investing not only in business, but in the people and the communities that support them. And sometimes you see that innovation in other very tangible ways. If you spent any time in the lobby before coming in tonight, you might have noticed a futuristic robotic dog making the rounds. The dog's name is Moose. Moose is just one example of the kinds of ideas being developed in our community by companies like Real Life Robotics and others working in our downtown innovation district. It's proof that the ideas shaping our future are coming from right here. But you don't have to take my word for it.
My name is Elliot Fung. I am the Executive Director of the Medical Innovation Exchange, also known as MIX. We are Canada's first and only industry-led hub for health innovation companies. From the world's smallest camera to medical robots, we are providing healthcare to almost 500,000 people around the world every year. We see a huge economic impact if we can keep these companies here, have them grow here, have them build here, have them hire here, and give back to our community. Kitchener is on the cutting edge of innovation. They love supporting the entrepreneurial spirit and the building spirit that we have in innovation.
My name is Cameron Waite, and I'm the founder and CEO at RLR. Robotics today play a very practical role in an organizational environment where they're solving some real-world challenges. They take all those complexities of running complex hardware systems. That's really where Passenger came from. Kitchener Golf got the opportunity to place our passenger software platform into a real-world environment. It's one thing to build something in a lab or in simulation. It's another thing to build it in real life. It allows a municipality like Kitchener to be seen as an innovator, but also as an influencer, because they're setting policies that nobody else has set before. The City of Kitchener has been a wonderful partner, not only to be a promoter of innovation, but then to bring that practically into the real world. Very collaborative, very forward-thinking, very innovative.
I'm John Dick, Managing Director of Velocity. We've been here for 17 years. Over 1,200 founders have been trained. Whenever one of our founders hits a roadblock, there is always someone they can connect to locally who has the answer for them. I think that this is a community that is not easy to replicate in other places. This is a city that knows how to make things in every sense of the word. The municipal government's been instrumental in the success of the companies here.
This brings me now to the third reason every one of us in this room tonight should be excited as we celebrate ambition and Made in Kitchener community health and well-being initiatives that are transforming our quality of life and making this city a destination. Because none of this works, not housing, not economic growth, if people don't feel connected to the place where they live. Talented people in growing businesses are choosing places to live, work, and play where they feel connected, supported, and part of something larger than themselves. That is one important reason why our investments in community life matter. Here in Kitchener, our people also work to be great, caring neighbors, strengthening connections through initiatives like Love My Hood and Neighbors Day, and through ongoing support for community-led programs across the city. Since launching Love My Hood, the city has invested over $1.6 million in funding, supporting more than 200 neighborhood projects with approximately $200 invested each year to bring local ideas to life. These efforts are complemented by our Community Grants Program, which provides funding to local organizations delivering arts, culture, and community services that bring people together across Kitchener. Together, these investments create more opportunities for people to connect in neighborhood parks, community spaces, and the shared experiences across the city. This is how strong communities take shape, intentionally, collaboratively, and by investing not only in businesses, but in the people and the communities they call home. Kitchener's newest indoor recreation center, located at RBJ Schlegel Park and opening later this year, is designed to help more residents get active and engaged in recreational and competitive sports and activities by supporting the growth of more than 30 different local sport groups. The multi-use facility will add much-needed space for programming, helping organizations expand participation and reduce long-standing wait lists. Local soccer and volleyball associations, for example, will be able to accommodate nearly 500 additional youth in house league programs once the facility opens. More importantly, the Cowan Recreation Center at RBJ Schlegel Park expands access. Once open, it will allow children, families, seniors, newcomers, residents, and visitors of all abilities to have places to connect, compete, and belong regardless of income, background, or ability. With 2 pools, a FIFA regulation field house, quad gymnasium, walking track, and 2 cricket batting cages, the Cowan Recreation Center at RBJ Schlegel Park represents the kind of community infrastructure that must grow alongside the city. Together with the new Williamsburg and Huron Community Centers, the southwest branch of the Kitchener Public Library, and an expansion at the Mill Cortland Community Center this term, this is how we ensure growth translates into lived experience, into spaces where people can actually participate, belong, and thrive. It's a made-in-Kitchener solution for real and lasting community building services. And these investments also enable us to work with partners to remove another barrier in our communities, the cost of participating in sports. And so I'm thrilled to share some exclusive news with all of you tonight. The City of Kitchener has entered into an agreement with Equipe Sport and the Canadian Tire Jumpstart Charities to provide free access to sports equipment at 27 different outdoor community recreation locations across the city. You will notice when you go to the You will notice these lockers on display in the reception area later this evening. A simple idea that can have a real impact across the entire city. This initiative removes barriers, making sport more accessible and affordable for all members of the community. For too many residents, especially children, youth, seniors, and newcomers, the cost of equipment can be the difference between participating or sitting on the sidelines. Equipe Sport changes that. Through secure, self-serve equipment lockers stocked with items like basketballs, soccer balls, volleyballs, and fitness equipment, residents can borrow what they need at no cost and return it so others can use it too. It's a sponsor-funded turnkey model that advances community health, inclusion, and active use of public spaces. Practical, scalable, community-focused. This partnership extends access to sport and recreation across our community in a way that creates connections, develops a deeper sense of belonging, and benefits all without costing anyone, whether you're a user and/or a taxpayer. I'm grateful to local Kitchener-Conestoga MP Tim Lewis for introducing me to Equipe Sport and Jumpstart Canada, and to them for this new partnership. We look forward to sharing more on this exciting program in the days ahead. This too is made in Kitchener. Straightforward, practical solutions that are making a real difference in people's everyday lives. Better, more accessible programs and facilities are just one way we are supporting making our city the best place to be. My council colleagues and I are looking forward to connecting with all of you this evening about what Kitchener means to you. So before I move to my closing remarks, I'd like to encourage you to join us after the formal programming for a reception. Now, we've been tossing and turning, but it looks like Mother Nature is working with us. So the reception will both be in the space next door, as well as on the rooftop if you want to have a great view of downtown Kitchener. So I encourage you to spend some time in both places, because when you look across our city tonight, you're not just seeing buildings and streets. You're going to see people, possibility, and a future that is decidedly made in Kitchener. Friends, I want to close where we began, here at Glovebox. This place exists because Kitchener partnered with industry to reimagine what was possible. Together, we ensured brick and beam were preserved, innovation embraced, and community kept at the center. That is the role of a city, not just to respond to challenges, but to lead with purpose, to create the conditions for people to succeed, and especially in uncertain times, to inspire confidence in what comes next. As a municipality, we have a responsibility to bring that sense of optimism forward through the decisions we make, the investments we prioritize, and the way we show up for our community. And right now, we have real opportunities in front of us despite the challenges. Opportunities to deliver more housing so people can build their lives here. Opportunities to grow our local economy so businesses can thrive and talent can stay. And opportunities to invest in quality of life so people feel connected, supported, and proud to call this city home. Housing, economic opportunity, and quality of life, 3 reasons to be excited about where we are going. They are not only priorities for the city, they are commitments to our residents, our visitors, and our business partners. And they only work if people believe in them. That is where all of us come in. Because the future of Kitchener is not something that happens to us, it is something we shape together through partnership, through leadership, through everyday acts of care, creativity, and contribution. In difficult times, some communities wait for solutions. Kitchener builds its own, and not just with plans or projects, but with people. People who choose to be part of something bigger. People who choose optimism even when it is not the easiest path. People who step forward, take action, and help move this city forward. This is what it means to be from Kitchener, a place where people don't wait for change, they make it. It's not just where we are, it's who we are. It's in all of us, and it's made in Kitchener. Thank you everyone for sharing your valuable time with us this evening, and please enjoy your time at the reception both next door and up on the rooftop. Thank you very much.